you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Imagine just one of these things happening to Donald Trump, where his campaign would be, or what they would say about it. I mean, my goodness gracious, they would send in, I don't know, Interpol to arrest Donald Trump. Joe Biden moving in on a 13-year-old girl like this. This is nightmarish stuff. But he does it and he gets away with it because he's, what, a Democrat? Because he's establishment? I don't know, but it's wrong. How about that granddaughter that he refused to acknowledge for years? This poor family had to take Joe Biden to court, had to take Hunter Biden to court for an acknowledgement, and then Hunter Biden had to be taken out by the New York Times. He had to be shamed by the New York Times into acknowledging his own granddaughter. You know it, I know it. You'd be surprised how many people who don't follow the news very closely have no idea that Joe Biden denied his own granddaughter for years. How about this? The matter of, well, Hunter hooking up with his dead brother's wife, Haley. This would destroy many families, right? Joe said, no, we're actually happy with that they're at the beach together and that they're all over each other. Again, Hunter with his dead brother's wife, Haley, having an affair with his sister-in-law. What did Joe Biden say about this when it happened? He actually said, for the record, we are lucky that Hunter and Haley found each other as they were putting their lives together again after such sadness, after the loss of Beau. They have mine and Jill's full and complete support, and we are happy for them. Nobody seemed to get around to talking to Kathleen Biden. That was Hunter's wife at the time he was hooking up with Haley. It's nightmarish. It really is. And then there's this doozy. I mean, I'm not suggesting anything happened between Joe Biden and his sister, but it's just overall weird. And that's what Joe Biden is. Have you ever seen this?
Okay, does Joe Biden have a brother? I'm lucky I have two younger brothers. I'm the oldest of three, and I've got a sister who's the love of my life.
That is a phrase you usually save for the person you married or whatever, some long-lost girlfriend from high school that you didn't marry or you should have or whatever, not your sister. I'm not saying anything happened. Nothing happened between him and his sister other than a political relationship of convenience. You know, this is overlooked, too, by the fake news, but Valerie Biden became a very rich woman by being the sister of Joe Biden, running every single one of his campaigns, even though she knew nothing about politics. It's pretty wild. All the way up until 2008, she was running the campaigns and getting a lot of money along the way. But this stuff is just window dressing, really. Now we see what could be real serious corruption, like this.
On March 1st, 2018, AmeriCorps wired a $200,000 loan into James and Sarah Biden's personal bank account, not their business bank account. And then on the very same day, James Biden wrote a $200,000 check from this same personal bank account to Joe Biden.
That's pretty serious stuff. A $200,000 check written by Jim Biden, the brother, to Joe Biden for $200,000 the same day he got paid off from a company, AmeriCorps. He got employed by AmeriCorps for saying, I'm Joe Biden's brother. They don't pay any attention to it. And more recently, a $40,000 check. We heard this from Jim Comer from the Oversight Committee just last week.
First, Northern International Capital, a Chinese company associated with CEFC, wired $5 million to Hudson West 3, a joint venture established by Hunter Biden and a CEFC associate. Then Hudson West 3 sent $400,000 to an entity owned and controlled by Hunter Biden. Next, Hunter Biden wired $150,000 to Lion Hall Group, a company owned by James and Sarah Biden. Sarah Biden then withdrew $50,000 in cash from Lion Hall Group. Later the same day, she deposited it into her and James Biden's personal checking account. A few days later, Sarah Biden cut a check to Joe Biden for $40,000.
Now, I know not every show is like the Greg Kelly show where we take a nugget like this and we, I literally blow it up because it's important. This is that $40,000 check that Sarah wrote to her brother-in-law. This is the $200,000 check that the brother wrote to Joe Biden. I mean, this is at least somewhat interesting, right? The fake news says no. We'll ignore it. After that $200,000 check became public information, not from the internet, not from some blog, but from the House Oversight Committee, the main political Sunday shows, not a mention of it. And then yesterday, Sunday, the $40,000 check was pretty, I thought, tantalizing information. Not a peep. But that's the fake news. You know what's worse? Even the so-called conservative media blew it off. Fox News Sunday, hosted by Shannon Bream. Not a peep about the 200,000. You'd be amazed what they don't talk about on that show. Heaven forbid some Democrat gets wind of the negative information about Joe Biden. They may not come on our show again. $200,000, the $40,000 check does not get mentioned. Meanwhile, like, our culture is going downhill, but they literally don't care at Fox News because those people, hey, they get their hair and makeup, they get the money, they don't want to rock the boat. It's okay that the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, has made sexuality important. Orientation somehow is important to your prospects as an agent. Yeah, they went to a career day and they had gay pride flags all over the booth. Come work for the FBI. You know, we want you, especially if you're gay. I think they should want people who are, you know what I mean. Anyway, this is the kind of stuff that's going on and is totally ignored by people like Fox News. It's important. You know, the new speaker, who I think is just a breath of fresh air, right? Mike Johnson, Republican from Louisiana, he is the speaker. I understand the fake news is treating him like he's some sort of weirdo because he's, well, Bible-oriented. But even Fox News kind of gives him the, what's up with this Christian stuff?
You've talked a lot about your faith. You don't backtrack. You're not shy about that. You're bold about that. You said if people want to know your worldview, go open up the Bible. You know that concerns a lot of people. Your critics are hearkening back to things that you've said about gay marriage, homosexuality, conversion therapy. They point to a definition in Christianity today of that, saying it's a belief that the American nation is defined by Christianity and that the government should take active steps to keep it that way. Is that an accurate description of your view of how the government should function?
No, I'm not even sure what the term means. And look, there are entire industries built on tearing down people like me.
There are, but it was kind of the way it was framed. It was just perfectly neutral. Now, you could say that's the job of a journalist, to be perfectly neutral. In this day and age, is it? I mean, I think we're in a fight between good and evil, and I think old Shannon over there knows better. For instance, she has a book. Many books about the Bible speaks, the Bible, and that's very important. But I think it could kind of a little bit impact how you ask a question, how you not give credence to the hard, secular, anti-God left when you're asking a question of the Speaker of the House, especially when you write books like this and you promote yourself like this.
You can join a free online Bible study that will work through the Women of the Bible Speak workbook to look at 4 different women in the Advent weeks leading up to Christmas.
That's beautiful. But I just don't think that Speaker Johnson should be treated like he's some sort of outlier, even by the folks over there, even by her. And Speaker Johnson is a breath of fresh air. You know about that teenager he adopted? The teen was 14, and yeah, he really did that. And I hear that he's getting kind of a hard time for that, actually, from the left. Like, why did he do it? And it was somehow strange that he adopted this young man at the age of 14. I think it's probably one of the greatest things one can do. Barack Obama, he could have done something like that. He's just too busy being cool. I think that was his mission all the time, to be cool. He was cool on a podcast. He's cool when he shows up at the basketball court. He ain't gonna break a sweat for anybody other than, you know, himself when it's time to be cool. And how's this for cool? He's gonna be really cool with the whole Hamas situation in Israel. Watch him walk this line. He thinks he's fooling us. He's not.
If you want to solve the problem, then you have to take in the whole truth. And you then have to admit nobody's hands are clean, that all of us are complicit to some degree.
He might be complicit a lot, actually. Obama with the Iran deal and all that money and who knows what else. You know whose hands are completely clean? I mean, completely? The victims. The young women who are at that concert, the children, the elderly, right? Abducted by Hamas. And somehow we're looking at this as, well, on the one side you have this, and on the other side you have that. Obama, this weekend, wrong on the facts, wrong on the substance, wrong on everything. But hey, he's the Obama. He looks cool when he's wrong, right? And that's kind of what it's all about in America these days. All right, one more thing about him, because, you know, he's coming back. He was busy making his billions over the past several years, but he's back. He's very, very public. And why is that? I don't know. Maybe he's pulling the strings for 2024. It looks like it's not going to be Joe. I'm going to remind people that he's a great big disappointment. We all know that, but especially where he was supposed to be most helpful in bringing up, quite frankly, African Americans in the United States. He blew it. He pretends he goes through the motions, but he blew it.
When we came here, three of the guys here, what I shared with them was, and I think this surprised some of the guys, violence and drugs and some of the issues that I was going through were similar. And I think that, I think that, you know, one of the things we all, boys,
these guys are so not digging this dude.
Many of whom grow up without fathers, don't have as many resources around them. It becomes that much more critical. You know,
you can
these
feel
are the
the
kinds of
boredom.
pressures I'm dealing with. That's something that I went
So
through
out
also.
of touch
You know,
and weird.
I'm struggling with this too.
Yeah, sure.
This is
him not breaking a sweat, not really putting in the effort that it takes to make change. This is, I don't know, window dressing, whatever you want to call it. And race relations and respect for law enforcement at our complete nadir, probably in American history. So where does that bring us right now in Joe Biden? Well, looks like he's on his way out. I don't know how it's actually going to go down, but over the past weekend, we had David Axelrod, Obama's chief guy, come out and say, it should not be Joe Biden. He's got to bow out. A little bit earlier, David Ignatius, the Swamp's favorite columnist, said the same thing. And they got people who are warming up, people who are even, well, just as silly, just as vapid as Joe, but a little bit younger. Who remembers the debate at the Ronald Reagan Library for the Republicans running for president, not including Donald Trump? For some weird reason, Gavin Newsom showed up there. Yeah, Gavin Newsom. There are cameras there, so Gavin Newsom showed up. Talk about somebody who's everywhere all the time. He just got back from China, and he thinks that, I don't know, there he goes, down. Ooh. He's got good hair, and he's tall, and he's thin. Somehow that's presidential material. You know, America, we've come a long way, okay? We don't fall for this stuff anymore. What was that about? Why is he spanking that kid? Look at California. Look at these numbers. Violent crime has increased 31%. 31% over nationwide, the nationwide trend where crime is kind of out of control. But hey, he looks good in his suit. Some people say the same about AOC, the crazy AOC. She's thin and pretty, and therefore we should listen to her. And they put her on the cover of Time magazine.